noise. So I record. So, well, welcome once again, everybody. This is a bit of an unusual event for me because I'm not cooking this evening, which has taken a little bit to let go, I must admit. But my fabulous team are right behind me, supporting me every step of the way. I've had a really dramatic couple of weeks. I lost my father on Friday evening. Yes, I just felt I'd been away for a couple of weeks trying to support my mum, and I've just arrived back home this afternoon to 4 children who haven't seen their mum for nearly 2 weeks. And my smallest one was sick all of last night to boot. It never rains, but it pours. So I just felt this evening, perhaps cooking was a step too far, but I wanted to be involved because I can never let go. And I wanted to see all your smiling faces to cheer me up. So yes, but please excuse me, but I know my team are going to do a fabulous job. Probably be better than me, and everybody will go, no, she's rubbish, get off, we just want the rest of the team. So yeah, I hope that doesn't happen. But I'm sure there's Marie, and Marie has done, in particular, Marie has done an absolutely amazing job of sorting it all out and doing the time plan, which is what I would normally do. So I'm very, very grateful to you all, and thank you all for joining us as well. So I am just going to sort of run through how this is going to work. We've got quite a lot of dishes to show you, so I don't want to spend too long introducing everybody. But cooking tonight, we've got Marie Perry, who is, I think, on the screen. I won't spotlight her, you'll see her in turn. Marie is a chef herself. She owns a fantastic chocolate company, does chocolate and cocktail workshops as well. So you're in really good hands with her. We've got Sarah Cohen, who Sarah, can I see Sarah? So Sarah, there she is in her Christmas hat. How can I miss her? Sarah was actually one of the customers, bought a Thermomix for her, I think for her husband last year. And then he hasn't really had a look in since she's had it. And then she loved it so much, she joined us as an advisor, which is brilliant. So that's Sarah. And then we've got Linda Taylor as well. Linda, if you want to give us a wave, if we can pick you out. So again, Linda, you were a customer, weren't you, I think, initially? Loved your machine so much that you, again, turned into an advisor. And then we've got Sue Hambleton. So Sue's our regular healthy eating guru. If you've got a question on health and food, please ask Sue. Sue is a kinesiologist by day. Again, was one of my customers, loved her Thermomix so much and how it changed her family's life that she decided she wanted to share it with others. And we may have some other advisors on here as well. So you've got a great sort of breadth of knowledge and experience here. So please, if you've got any questions, pop them in the chat and we will be happy to help. So questions related to anything we're doing tonight, or any sort of Thermomix related questions in general as well. So I'm just going to spend a couple of moments just running through the machine. I know we've got quite a few current owners on here, but people do find this useful. So I'm just going to take my phone down here and just run you through some of the functions on the screen. So what makes the Thermomix different from just a sort of food processor, which I often hear a Thermomix is just like a fancy or a very expensive blender. And yes, it does do all those functions that a food processor does, but it does so much more as well. And that is what I hope we can only get across to people by actually cooking and demonstrating it, which is why we love doing these sessions. So we believe, we know through personal experience that a Thermomix is worth every penny. Yes, most of us fall over when we tell you for the first time it costs you £1,149, but you will get every penny of that back and more. I see through personal experience of nearly 250 customers now that my customers save double, if not triple, what it costs them to buy on a daily basis, simply because they change the way that they shop and they cook. And whereas before they perhaps wouldn't have attempted some of the sorts of things you can cook in a Thermomix, because a Thermomix makes it so effortless. You can actually prepare a lot of the stuff that you would buy ready-made or convenience foods much more cheaply, easily and quickly in a Thermomix. So not only does it do food processor type stuff, it cooks for you, it stirs for you, it washes itself up. we've got access to this fantastic platform on here called Cookie Do, which you can search sort of nearly 70,000 recipes. So this is really what makes a Thermomix different from anything else out there. So if you just want to put a little sort of thing in the search, I'll just show you very quickly. Let's just put in chicken, just gives you the idea. I just put in chicken. I've probably made a mess of that spelling of that. No, there it is. And you can see immediately you've got it over 1,000 results. The recipes appear there immediately on the screen. So all you need to do is click on them and then press start cooking. It takes you straight into the recipe and it walks you through it. And the really clever part, and the bit which everybody loves, is, now I need to get to it first, is the inbuilt weighing scales. So I've actually chosen a really bad recipe here because I've had to step through and skip through a number of steps. But you see, you can weigh directly in. And I think it is that combination of having the ability to weigh directly in, plus the recipe on the screen, that really just speeds up the cooking process, because it means you don't need to get out lots of pots and pans and bits of kitchen equipment that you use for one process, and then you end up having to wash them up. Absolutely everything is handled in the Thermomix. So it cuts down on the washing up, it cuts down on your energy, it cuts down on your time. And it's a lot green. It's a much smarter, greener, energy efficient way to cook as well. So I'll just come out of there and just show you very briefly what you can do with these recipes. So with your recipes, you can create your own folders, again through our Cookie Do app. So the app is available through your phone or a tablet, or through a computer on a website. You can create collections, so you can make folders and save all your recipes in folders, which is really handy. You've also got collections that Thermomix put together that you've got access to at your fingertips. So you can save all those to your Cookie Do account and then have access to them at the fingertips. This is one of the best collections out there, this beautiful Christmas collection. I don't know, I think we might have some recipes from here tonight, or we may not, but that is certainly worth a look as well. And then you can bookmark recipes so you can save them, and you can also create your own recipes. A really new feature, and that has only been out in the last week or so. So you can actually input your own recipes onto your Thermomix so that they appear on the screen. So that's that. In terms of the functions, again, I'm not going to dwell on these so much, but we've got about 25 different functions here. So this gadget, they'll kill me if anybody's here from head office. It's my boss on here. She was threatening to join earlier. Hi, Hayley, if you're not. I know I'm not allowed to call it a gadget or machine. It's always a Thermomix. However, we have got this, the point remains, we've got 25 different modes for you here. So again, when people are thinking, oh my goodness, it's a lot of money, it's cheaper to buy one of these than it is to buy 25 different gadgets, and then you will save continuously after having your Thermomix. So please don't let the cost of it put you off. There are monthly offers as well, so it's well worth talking to an advisor and just keeping in touch with an advisor. Don't just go online and buy, because you will not be offered the support from advisor. You won't also get the monthly customer promotion. This month, marketing have given us the opportunity to, as well as revolutionise our cooking, revolutionise our cleaning, and we are offering a reduction on one of our Cobalt range when you buy a Thermomix. So if that's something that might be of interest to you, they are fantastic hoovers. I've got a couple. I can hoover them up at the same time. Again, it all factors into that sort of time-saving, energy, effort-saving side of things. Then please do ask us for more details, and we will, of course, share them with you. So I think without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Marie, who's going to get started now with the Christmas, is it the Doughball wreath? There we go. Off she goes.
Hi. Anyway, yes, it is. Absolutely. Brilliant. Thanks ever so much, Lindsay. Thank you. So hi everyone, I'm Marie, if you don't already know me, and we're going to be starting off with a Doughball, garlic Doughball and Camembert wreath today. Now this isn't specifically a Cookie Do recipe, but we were inspired by a Waitrose magazine that we saw a couple of months ago now, advertising their Christmas items, and they had this item for £6.50. I did a quick costing on it, and buying a fairly standard, not too cheap, not too expensive Camembert to go in the middle of it, got it down to about £2.67. And there's definitely cheaper Camemberts out there to buy. So we thought we'd show you how. So I'm just going to start off with making the basic pizza dough, and we're going to use that to make our dough balls with. So I'll take you down to the Thermomix and we'll talk you through the ingredients. So we have our pizza dough recipe. So we're just going to that, really, really simple. With this pizza dough, you can do lots of different things with it. Actually, you can make it into flatbreads, you can make it into dough balls, as we're going to tonight, and obviously pizza bases as well. So 220 grams of lukewarm water. Okay, straight in there. And as Lindsay was saying, the measuring scales, be it whether it's liquid going in there or be whether it's a solid going in there, it doesn't matter at all. It's super, super easy. Everything is straight into the bowl, so you haven't got an excess of washing up to do. So a teaspoon of sugar in there as well, just to get feed the yeast. And then we want, so it tells you the difference between fresh yeast and instant yeast as well, should you want to use fresh as opposed to instant, but I've got instant here tonight. So just 2 teaspoons of that in there. And then we're just going to give that a quick mix up for 20 seconds. Just turn it on to speed 2, just to get that, that yeast started with the water and fed by the sugar in there to get it activated. So we're going to pop in some olive oil next, and some salt, and then it's really clever because it's going to do all of the kneading for us, which we all know is the hard bit when it comes to making dough. But all of the breads in the Thermomix are absolutely amazing. It's something that I haven't bought now for over 2 years. I haven't bought bread because there's just no need. Bread is so simple to cook in here, and that's all kinds of bread. So 400 grams of baker's flour. So baker's flour is extra strong bread flour. It's an Australian term normally that is baker's flour. So straight in there. I'm making a mess of my screen there, dropping flour all over it, but there we go. 329, 370. There we go. Excellent. And now the olive oil. Now this, actually, the olive oil going in does help to keep the dough nice and soft, so it is worth putting in there. 30 grams. Excellent. Again, all straight into the bowl. A little bit of salt. And job is a good one. There we go. Lid on.
The pizza dough recipe on here.
Yes, this is the pizza dough recipe, just the standard pizza dough I'm using. I know you've got your favourites, but I thought just for ease that it was nice to just show the standard cookie dough.
I'm going to use the Polish one because there is actually a Polish recipe on cookie dough, so you can explain about Google Translate.
Yeah, absolutely. So I looked at that, but that actually uses a brioche roll, so it just was a little bit more time consuming, which is why I've gone down this route. But I actually haven't got my an extra phone to hand at the moment, so I can't show you directly. But I'll bring you back to me whilst that's needing. If you use your phone or your iPad or tablet, you have got a function on there. If you just type in Google Translate, it will come up with the access to be able to put in the words that you want to translate. Or there's a little camera icon on there. If you click that camera icon and then literally just hover it over the screen, what will happen is that you will be able to read the screen in Polish translated into English through your phone or your pad. So it's super, super easy for you to be able to translate absolutely any of the 5,000 recipes that are available on Cookie. No recipe in the world is unattainable to you. Absolutely everything is available to you to be able to access and make the most of. And we found that last year when we were looking at toffee liqueur, which was a Polish recipe too, which was, let's say, the hit of the season. So the kneading's almost done on this. and then it literally just asks it to be put aside somewhere warm to rise for around about an hour. But all of that effort with the kneading is completely gone. No hard work involved for you at all. I've actually got carpal tunnel syndrome, so I haven't baked bread by hand for a long time, purely because the kneading would make me bad for a few days afterwards. We don't need to consider that anymore. Fresh bread every 3 days. So here we go. As soon as it releases the lid, there we go. So the dough there is all ready and waiting for you. So we just turn that out onto a flat surface and bring it into a ball. But it's really, really easy dough to work with, not at all sticky, not got to, you know, to worry about sort of everything being too messy with it. It's literally just a case of bring that into a ball, and that's just going to get put into a bowl to rise for a little while. Come back to me shortly, and we will do that. Now we're going to hand over to Cutty, who's going to start us off with a festive soup. Only she's not.
Yes, sorry, just getting out my son on the tech stuff. Hi, right, I'm going to be cooking the chestnut and fennel soup. Chestnuts are in season at the moment, which is great. And this is an Italian recipe. Not that I'm going to try and say the name in Italian.
Go on, give it a go.
No. Zuppa di Castigane Finicino. There you go. Still got to have an O on the end. Anyway, right, 120 grams of the onions quartered. And then I'm going to go for 100 grams of the leeks. I haven't tried this before, so I'm really looking forward to this actually. The fennel, which I don't tend to use a lot. It's quite aniseedy, but isn't that right? I'm sure that's right. The smells aniseedy. So a few sprigs of thyme. You can use sage if you don't want to use thyme. And then we are doing 50 grams of salted butter. This is weighing it out on the way through, but just to speed things up a little bit, I weighed it all out earlier. Bit of a Blue Peter moment. Right, then I'm going to put the lid on, and that's just going to chop all that up in 5 seconds. It's as quick as that. So I can just hide my bowl away. Okay, so the scrape down the side, but that has chopped that up that easily in just 5 seconds. Right, it says scrape down the sides. They're not too bad actually, but I'll scrape them down. And then lid back on, and that is going to now cook for 10 minutes. This is the Italian kitchen collection as well, which has got 61 lovely Italian recipes on there, all in English as well. And chestnuts have been eaten across Italy for thousands of years, with references to chestnut trees appearing as far back as the writings of Homer and Pliny. There you go, bit of history. And also they're eaten in a wide variety of ways, chestnuts. They can be roasted, boiled, pureed, used in desserts, and even dried and ground down into flour. So they're a huge amount of ways you can use chestnuts. So yeah, and the season is usually October to January. They say when the leaves fall off the trees, the chestnuts do too. And so sort of fall and winter is the time to eat the chestnuts. So I'm going to leave that cooking now for 10 minutes, well, 9 minutes now. So I can have a bit of a tidy my bowls away and get back to you.
We're over to Sue for cranberry chutney in the meantime.
No, this is the problem when you have a Thermomix. You suddenly have a lot of extra time on your hands that you have to tidy the kitchen with. Are we going back to Marie while that's cooking away?
Over to Sue for cranberry chutney now.
Okay, right, let me just see if I can spotlight Sue. Okay, here we go. Spotlight. Yes, there she is.
Hello. So I'm Sue, for people that don't know me, and today we're going to start off by making a. I'm going to start off by making a cranberry chutney. So just I've got my ingredients prepared here, and I'm just selecting that from the menu here and start cooking. So we're going to start off with some sugar, and I use coconut sugar. Actually, that's just my sugar of choice, but you can use whatever you like. So I'm just going to weigh that in. It should be the right amount, actually. I think. So that's our sugar in, and then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, which I've got ready here.
Thank you, darling.
I'm just clicking on next there. Now we need 3 cloves. So we've got all the Christmassy flavours and spices going on here. 3 cloves there. And 3 black peppercorns. So again, I've just got those. There we go. A star anise. So that's just going straight in as it is. And a pinch of ground nutmeg, which we can just do like that. Okay, so we're going to insert.
Carol sent an attachment.
Insert the measuring jug. Now that's. Hang on a minute. Sorry, just bear with me a second. I thought we were having orange in there as well, which is a tricky with trying. I should have orange.
Tap on the green at the top.
Oh, it jumped a bit. There we go. So we also have the thin peelings of orange.
No, takes it back.
Which are just going in there.
Tap on the green.
And then, yes, I just missed that step. So we'll just pop back through that.
I ask everyone to mute, please. Thank you.
What's that?
Just asking people to mute because
Oh,
I can
sorry. I thought you were talking to me. Okay, and then insert the measuring cup on the top, and that's just going to blend up for 30 seconds on a speed 10. Okay, so whilst that's doing, I'll just get ready for the next step. Preview of what's coming next. Right, okay, so just clicking on next here, and I'm going to scrape that down, and then you'll see if I can show you. No, it's probably easier to lift. Here, you can see that that's. You can't see in the light there. There you go. A complete sort of powder, nice citrusy and spicy powder that we've created. We'll now add the next things too. So just scraping down the sides. Okay. Let's see what's next. So clicking on next here, we need to add some red onions. So again, one of the beauties of this is that you don't have to spend hours chopping your onions, just literally peeled and cut into quarters. That's going in as it is. Like that. And then again, insert the measuring jug, and we're just going to chop that up for a little bit longer. And just 5 seconds on speed 5. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to do now is get some other ingredients in there. So it's all basically being added in. 500 grams of dried cranberries. So this is dried cranberries we're using here rather than fresh. That's what the recipe requires. And stick those in there. And right, big bowl full of cranberries. We need 100 grams of red wine. Now, don't laugh at my Diddy bottle. I don't drink red wine, so this is bought especially for this. And yes, I won't even need it all, so I have to find some other cooking that requires it. So just following that up to 100 grams is what we need. There we go. Oh, nearly spot on. Okay, so that's the red wine, and then we want red wine vinegar. So again, it's the same amount of that, 100 grams. So pouring that in, measuring as we go. That's 80. There's a little bit more from here. There we go. That's that one. And then we have one orange. So this is the orange squeeze. So I used basically one orange in the whole thing. I just peeled thinly that went in at the beginning, and now we're adding the juice of that orange. So that's just going in there. Oops. And then we're going to place, we're going to take the measuring cup out. So sometimes we cook like this. We're going to take the measuring cup out and just pop the simmering basket on the top, which allows the steam to come out, and but just keeps the cover on there. And that is basically going to be steamed on the Varoma setting, which is the highest temperature, for 20 minutes. And that's pretty much it, actually. Very, very easy. We're just putting everything in there. We're going to cook it for 20 minutes. And then the other thing we need to think about is preparing some jars to put it in, which we can actually sterilise in the Varoma unit, which we can do afterwards. But this is the Varoma unit that fits on top. And we can pop jars upside down into that. That's one option. Obviously, you can put them in the oven and do various other things for sterilising the jars, but that is one way that you can also use the Thermomix to do that. So I'm going to set this off now, and that's going to cook for 20 minutes, and I'm going to hand over back to Marie.
Hi, Sue, thanks.
Okay.
Are we back on? Okay. Hi, everybody. Right, okie dokie. So I am now just starting to arrange these Doughballs. What I've done in Thermomix is I have got some garlic butter just melting down. So I put in 4 garlic cloves, 30 ounces of unsalted, that's not right, is it? No. 30 grams, sorry, of unsalted butter, and a tablespoon of parsley or mixed herbs, and just a tablespoon of olive oil as well. The reason that you put olive oil in sometimes with garlic butter is just because when it's going to go in the oven for a long period of time, it stops the butter from burning. So you can very, very quickly, very easily just make it a bit more acceptable for going in the oven for a longer period. Right, okie dokie. So what we've got in here is said garlic butter, nicely melted. That's fresh garlic. I put in there the fresh parsley, a little bit of thyme just because I grow it and I like it, and the garlic and the butter in there. So that's going to be going onto our dough balls before we get it into the oven. So I've got my lovely soft dough here, which this is one that I made earlier, to be fair. We will be having pizza tomorrow night to use the dough that I've just made. And we're going to take off roughly 25-gram pieces of dough. We just give it a squish down and then do a quick pull and into the center around to make a little ball. So same technique as if you were making Hi, sorry, I think I just lost connection there for a second. It dropped out at this end anyway. So basically, then you just roll that either against your hand or against the surface, giving it room for it to shape into a nice little ball. And as you can see, I've already put the first layer, the Camembert in the center, and the first layer of dough balls around the outside. And now we're going to use the dough balls and build that into the Camembert. You want to make sure your dough balls are all touching, because the idea is this becomes obviously the tear and share. So again, just a technique called round the clock. If you've ever watched Lindsay uses this as well. I think it was catering college when we were there. That was the technique that was used. So very, very quick and easy. Again, just the 25-gram pieces. You don't have to be precise with these as precise as if you were doing an actual bun. These just want to be nice little torn off pieces to be able to eat as dough balls. So
it's definitely worthwhile using this technique to shape your rolls with, actually, as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Or your
100%.
baps, right? It just ending up flat, and you end up with nice perky buns rather than flat baps.
we like perky buns as opposed to flat baps, don't we? So I'm going to finish this off screen, because obviously it's not the most interesting thing to watch the whole thing of, but I will just pop that one into place. You can see how it's going to start shaping up, how it's going to start forming that second ring. So you want the first ring to be a short distance away from the Camembert, the second ring to be layered slightly over the top of the dough balls and just touching the Camembert. So it's bringing it in and bringing a little bit of height to it as well. And then I knew there would be something I forgot, pastry brush. So all you're going to do then is dredge the dough balls with the garlic butter. Be generous. We don't want to be mean. We want to be able to taste the garlic, and that butter is going to keep the dough balls beautifully soft as well. So that's what we're going to do on there. I am going to also, just to help it cook nice and quickly, just put a score on the top of the Camembert, so that when it cooks and it starts to bubble up, a little cross on the top of it is going to open up and give you easy access to that Camembert. Sorry, I think somebody perhaps just needs to press quiet, press the mute button if they can. Right, second thing I'm going to be showing you now, somewhere, excuse me.
This is what I want to see, Marie.
Well,
Christmas tree, I'm hoping we're going to see.
It is. This is going to be the puff pastry Christmas tree. And because it was puff pastry, I wanted to leave it in the fridge till the last minute, because, you know, it wants to be chilled. It absolutely, you get the best lamination if you keep it chilled. So, right, here we go. This is a really, really great looking recipe. It looks actually a lot more complex than it actually is, as do so many of these recipes, I find. We worry about them, and they're actually not anywhere near as difficult as you actually think once you get started with them. So I'll take you over to the Thermomix. It is an American recipe, so it is in Fahrenheit and in ounces, but obviously one of the benefits of the Thermomix is it changes all of those quantities for you straight away, no issues, no problems. Rolled puff pastry.
Whoops.
Yeah, I did do a trial with this over the weekend, and I made my own puff pastry, which is just super, super easy in the Thermomix. Absolute doddle. But in this instance, it's expecting us to be cheating. So we're going to cheat as instructed on this particular occasion. So it asks for 5 ounces of cheddar to go into the mixing bowl, and then 2 ounces of Parmesan, just roughly cubed, very roughly chopped. And again, this is something that is just a wonder. Grated cheese. Now, I can't grate cheese that quickly on an old-fashioned grater. There's no way. And it's just so quick and simple. It's ridiculously easy. So we're just going to put that back into the bowl that it originally. Moment or two anyway, so there's no point at all. We don't like doing extra washing up. One of the things the Thermomix says is washing up, so we're not adding to it. 3 garlic cloves just going in the top there. And then some dried parsley. It wants 2 tablespoons of dried parsley, 1 table of dried basil, and 1 teaspoon of dried oregano. I've got that there basically all weighed out ready. It's actually not necessarily exactly those herbs. It's herbs that I've made into a mixed herb from my garden earlier on in the year when they were all in season. So minced onions, if you haven't got any minced dried onions, I wouldn't worry about it. I don't think it's the strongest taste in it. You're only putting a teaspoon in, so it's not the end of the world. And some dried rosemary. So we've got lots of flavour in there already. A little bit of salt. And then it wants optional dried red pepper flakes, chili flakes. Now, the answer to that in this house is always going to be yes. So it just wants, it says 1/4 of a teaspoon, but obviously it's optional and it's to taste. And then pop your measuring cup and your lid back on. Quick 5-second chop, just to whiz it together. And that's just grinding that all down so that you've not got any big or woody clumps of any of those herbs or anything in there. And it just asks you to give it a quick scrape down with the spatula. Can you believe I've not got a spatula to hand? What on earth have I done there? There we go. Right. So everything's very, very finely chopped, very, very finely ground, I should say, down there. Quick knock down just to make sure that it's going to be over the blades, so your next ingredients are going to amalgamate with it properly. There we go. And then add in frozen chopped spinach. So this has been thawed and squeezed out really tightly, so it's almost like little sort of dry pillows of spinach now. But that's really important, because what you don't want is for it to be too sloppy and when it goes in the pastry, because otherwise you're going to end up with a soggy bottom, and nobody wants a soggy bottom. And then the cream cheese, so 8 ounces of cream cheese at room temperature. So again, if you've got any liquid on the top of your cream cheese, I would suggest you just drain that off, again, just to keep it relatively dry mixture. Okay, I think that is all the ingredients. Oh, of course, add the reserved grated cheese. So that's just going back in there anyway. There we go. Right. Insert measuring cup and lid. 10 seconds. All the way around 10 again. Brilliant. So that is the mix. It just wants one more quick blast. So it's just, again, because spinach can be a little bit stringy, it's just saying to scrape down the sides and pop it back on for its final blitz. But you can already see you've got a nice green paste coming up there. And it's actually really surprisingly tasty. So it is really worth doing, and it looks a treat. 10 more seconds. Okay, brilliant, done. So then it tells you to evenly spread this across your sheets of pastry, which it suggests is rolled to about 9 inches by 12. Now, that's really handy if you've got one of our Thermomix mats, because you've got the measurements in both imperial and metric along the side. But basically, if you provide these pre-rolled sheets, you want to lose about 1 inch off the end, and then you're good to go. That's really all it is. Now, one tip that I will give you, which I didn't find out till later, this is why we experiment first. If you have got a very, very flat cookie tray with no edges on, it is much easier to get this out afterwards than trying to lift it out of something with edges on. It's quite fragile. So if you've got a really flat tray, try and use the flattest tray that you've got to be able to get this on. That is my advice to you.
Marie, did you make that puff pastry, this particular one? I'm sure you did.
I didn't make this one. I cheated with this one, but the one that I did previously, did over the weekend, I made my own puff pastry with that. I was saying at the beginning, it's so ridiculously easy. There's just no real reason why not to. But what you need to have is a little bit of time on your hands, because you've got to make sure that it's chilled in between each process. because that's what you really need to make sure that the butter doesn't just melt away the second you pop it in the oven, is to make sure that it's really, really chilled. So that's the only reason I've gone for cheating on here. I did make my own when time was no issue over the weekend. So.
And yeah, I mean, if you get like other pastries, I mean, it's so, being able to make pastry is so useful in the run up to Christmas, isn't it? Because you can use it for so many different things, mince pies in particular.
Absolutely. Well, yesterday was Stir Up Sunday. So the perfect day to make your Christmas pudding, which I did. So I made my Christmas pudding, I made my Christmas cake, I made one of these that I'm making now, and I made short crust pastry, and I made my mincemeat as well. Now my husband has got just like the world's most insatiable craving for mince pies. He would have them literally all year round. So I do try to put him off till at least late November, but I know that I need to make a lot of mincemeat, so I double the quantity of mincemeat on there, and I guarantee I'll end up making it at least once more again before Christmas is out. But the short crust pastry, literally seconds, and just doesn't fail. It's every time. It's just so easy, so ridiculously easy. It literally is 2 minutes work. Right, as you can see on there, what was white pastry is now pretty much all green. All you do now is lie your second piece of pastry on top. So I'm just going to fold that piece of greaseproof pack. You literally just want to cover the two bits up. Now, when I was looking at this, I did think, the shape that I'm going to be cutting out there is going to leave a lot of wastage. But one of the things I love about cookie dough is it does have hints and tips at the bottom. It does tell you to do this, to just press it down together. So just a gentle roll over the top to sandwich everything together nicely. And then you're going to bring you right down. Going to gently just cut out your tree shape. So slice down the side there. I might need a bit more off there actually. Now you could be really organized and you could have a template drawn out beforehand. I am much more of a I'll wing it type person. So that is the way that I'm going with it. And it worked well yesterday, so I'm sure it'll be fine today. And just across in the centre to make your tree trunk, just choke out a couple of squares at the end there. Okay, I think we've got a slightly uneven tree, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Just make sure you cut through. I'm just trying not to press too hard because I've got a baking mat underneath. We've already got a tree shape. Now, these lovely little bits, these lovely little trims, I'll show you in just a moment, but I just cut these. The same way as we're going to twist the branches, we just twisted these round. And then when they've got the egg wash over the top, absolutely perfect, really lovely little nibbles to either go on the table as well, or as they are at the moment, to go in somebody's lunchbox. So I'll pop those to one side and we'll do those in a bit. We'll get on with throwing the jug around the kitchen, get on with showing you this Christmas tree. So it says that you can put a ruler down the centre if you want to. Now, there's no children in this house and neither of us are technical, so there are no rulers. So basically, just use the stem that you've cut into the base and cut a line away from it. So don't go all the way to the centre. Use that base that you've cut there as your guide and just cut lines down the side. So. Time so you can take a bit more care with that. Bit of spinach coming into play there. But it is already resembling a Christmas tree. And then really simply, all you do is you just pull up the two branches from the sides and give them a little twist. And what that does is it exposes the spinach inside. Hopefully you can see that there. And the cream cheese. And if you just do that with each one, we come down and we start to see the Christmas tree forming. Now, obviously, you're going to get a little bit of spread when this cooks as well. So if you want to spread your branches out a little bit, feel free to do so. Give them a little bit of a gap in between. You can see it's really starting to take shape. And all we're going to do is you might need to do more twists as the branches get longer. All of these instructions are on the screen, so there's no need for you to try and remember everything. Everything is there for you. I say as your branches get longer, give them more twists. And I say that pastry is just going to be exposed more and more and more. Filling is going to be exposed more and more the more twists you do. So there we go. Just these ones to do. And then we are going to just give it a really quick egg wash over the top and pop it into the oven to bake for about 25 minutes. And then we're going to do a little bit of decoration at the end for it. So that's pretty much all done. As you can see, how easy was that? It's much, much easier than it looks. It wants a high oven, about 200 degrees, the oven, 200 degrees centigrade, 400 Fahrenheit. But really quick egg wash over the top is all you need to do and get it in the oven. So that's your Christmas tree spinach puff. And I will hand you back over to who we're going to now. We're going to Linda to go and see some pate being made with some thyme and garlic crackers.
Hi, okay, so good evening. Yeah, I'm going to make the garlic and thyme crackers. Very, very simple, such an easy recipe. And they look really great. So I'll start cooking here. It's asking me to preheat my oven, which I have already done. And the next thing is that I need to put in 5 sprigs of fresh thyme, the leaves only, which I have prepared here. So they're going in. And the next is 220 grams of plain flour. I've obviously pre-done all this for the sake of time, so they've gone in, that's gone in there. Next, 120 grams of water, and the scales are here obviously to tell me how much water I need to put in, so I'm just finding now. So we're going 120, nearly there. Oh, just a tiny bit more than on there. Okay, so 20 grams of olive oil. In there. Okay, and we're going next a tablespoon of garlic powder. So I'll put this here and I'm going to put that in. Obviously, depending on your taste, you can put the little bit more in. Okay, so and a teaspoon of sugar, which I have here. Put that in now. And the next step is a teaspoon of salt flakes. That is going into the pot, which is great because it's all a one pot type of thing, so everything goes in together. And I now have a teaspoon of ground black pepper. So I've done this, I've weighed all these ingredients out for the ease of time, and then they go next again. So now I need to put on the lid and going on there. On. Go next, and this is now going to mix it all up together. So it's 10 seconds at speed 4. You turn it round and it actually tells you where you are with it. So we're now mixing. As soon as we get done, okay, so that is all mixed up now. And now gives me the dough. So that is the dough, which is in there. And basically it says tip the dough out and shape into a ball, cover and leave to rest for 10 minutes. Now, what I've done, I've previously made some up already, just so that you can see exactly what happens. And it tells me now that I need to halve the dough, one piece on a sheet of baking paper, roll out into a large rectangle, and then my next thing is that use a sharp knife and cut them into rectangles and put them on a baking tray, which I've done here. And the next thing is that I sprinkle with sea salt flakes and prick each cracker, which I've already previously done with a fork, and then repeat it with the second half. So that then goes into the oven for 5 to 6 minutes until they become brown. And then after that, I just separate all the crackers up and then bake for a further 4 to 5 minutes until the edges of the crackers are golden brown. And then turn off the oven and leave the crackers in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes to dry out whilst they're to make them nice and crispy. And remove them from the oven and put them on a cooling tray. So I'll be doing that now, popping them in there. So they'll all be ready for that part of the crackers to cook, and then I can show you them later. Thank you. Okay.
So I think we're over to Sarah now, and Sarah's going to show us the mulled wine and spiced nuts, because what's Christmas without some mulled wine?
Yeah, this one I've been looking forward to. I'm glad my son is playing with the filters, and he gave me a tash a minute ago. Hoping it's gone.
You've got Christmas lights. It's all good. It's all good.
Right. So I'm going to do the mulled wine. It's telling me to add 80 to 100 grams of raw sugar. I'm just going to put 80 in. I don't want too much. Always add a bit later. 120 grams of 250 grams of water. Sorry. There we go. Water, and then 20 grams of the lemon juice. That's about half a lemon. And then we're going to put in 2 cinnamon quills and 12 whole cloves. I love the smell of cloves. Makes it so festive. And then the a quarter of a teaspoon of nutmeg, the ground nutmeg. You can grind your own nutmeg. I've cheated and we've already had some in the cupboard well before I got a Thermomix, so using it up. And put the lid on. And then we're going to just cook that for 5 minutes. Get it going before we add the wine. My soup, I added the chestnuts to the soup and then some chicken stock with some water. I used my own homemade chicken stock, which I've had in the freezer. I made some stock cubes, but because I reduced the salt in the chicken stock, I just froze them in tablespoonfuls. But if you want to make a vegetarian, make it vegetarian, the chestnut soup, just use some vegetable stock instead. We all make this. I'm sure everyone has a Thermomix when you're sort of tired looking vegetables in the fridge or your peelings and everything. Just freeze it until you've got about 800 grams worth of vegetables. So the peelings, or as I say, the tired ones, and then just break it down to make some vegetable stock. It's a good way to use up some old vegetables. So I'm going to leave that going for 5 minutes, and I can't get on with the spiced nuts yet because I've still got 8 minutes to go on the soup.
Oh, okay, okay. Who's doing it then with the eggnog?
Yeah, let's go over to Linda for the eggnog. Hang on, Linda, let's move you across.
Oh,
It's me, England.
Hi.
Hello,
Am I messing things up?
Glyn, there she
Oh
is.
my God, there she is.
Hello, my gorgeous ones. How are you?
I'm
I've
very
just got
excited
into work.
about
I'm very excited.
Yeah, I am actually so excited, and I forgot to introduce you at the start because you weren't with us, but you know, this is definitely worth waiting for everybody that's joined. Glynis hasn't done one of our demos for a very long time. There's probably a very good reason for that, but anyway, she's here this evening and we've let her loose on something alcoholic, which is probably about the worst thing we could do.
Well, to be quite frank with you, you've let me loose on something that's non-alcoholic that I've had to make alcoholic. So I'm making the by the way, I'm Glyn, everyone, and this is Theodore, and I have had Theodore now for exactly 1 year, and I love him. So it's his birthday. I don't cook. Richard, my husband, is the cook. So we waited a long time to buy this gadget because I was like, well, I don't cook, so I don't need one. And Richard's like, well, I cook, so I don't need one. Oh my God, how wrong were we? So much so that this is Theodore, and we also have Theodora now, who's in Norfolk at the moment. So there you go. So I'm gonna make spiced eggnog. The thing I love about this is that for someone like me, it's a complete idiot's guide on how to cook. Richard uses it as a commis chef. I use it as a step. I won't deviate at all from the directions. So start cooking. Excuse me, I'm just getting over a cold. Right, so start cooking. Place 2 egg yolks. For those of you who've seen my demos before, I've been working, that's why I'm a bit late. My commis chef's laid all this out for me. So 2 egg yolks. Now, this here, for those of you who are new, I can see Pippa on here, who you haven't used it very long, Pippa. This is the lid, and you can actually separate, it's amazing, this gadget. You can separate your eggs in here. So you can crack your egg on the lid, pour it through, the white will go through into the base, and then you're left with your yolks, which is amazing for pavlova. And actually, I've got the leftover yolks from my hollandaise sauce that I made personally myself. So, 2 egg yolks, 2 eggs. He's even cracked them. I mean, how good is that husband of mine? 2 eggs, 2 tablespoons of honey. Now, this is how I knew I became a domestic goddess. I have now got one of these on a loop. Who knew? 2 tablespoons of honey. You excited? 2. Insert the measuring cup into the mixing bowl lid, and then turn for 10 seconds. I've got to be quiet now. Also, another thing which I think is really good is that when you're cooking, there's now a function on the screen which says preview, because you never know what's coming up next. So I'm just like, oh my God, what ingredient do I need now? And you can press preview and it can tell you what the next step is while this step's working. And as someone who doesn't cook, I found that really
come out
useful.
on the last update that we had, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's really good. Insert the butterfly whisk, and if you can see, I'm rubbish with technology. If you can see here, it shows you how to insert the butterfly whisk, which is just incredible. The butterfly whisk is like that. It's got a little nodule there, and then you just pop it in. Give it a wiggle, easy peasy. It almost feels like it's not in because it doesn't click, but I just wiggle it from side to side and know that it's there. Add 400 grams of unsweetened almond milk. you can make this yourself. Obviously, as a domestic goddess, I would ordinarily make this myself, but because I was so late back from work, I'm doing it here. So 400 grams. Oh, it's quite a lot. Oh, I'm going to be making quite a lot of this eggnog.
I guess
Right,
you could use other dairy-free milks as well if you wanted to. Using oat milk or maybe even coconut milk, something like that.
I think it's the almond just adding to the actual flavour in this recipe. I think it's actually, you know, it's part of the actual flavour. But there's nothing to say that you couldn't alter that at all.
I'm adding semi-skimmed because it's about 200 calories per glass, this. So, oops, 400. 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract with my thing on a string. I used to live in New York, and after Thanksgiving, all the bars and after Halloween, all the bars and the clubs started serving eggnog. So I just love it. It really reminds me of New York, and they serve it all the way until Christmas. And every single pub and restaurant used to serve it. It's amazing. Right. Insert the measuring cup. So now I'm going to cook that for 10 minutes. Again, it says turn the speed to speed 2, but all you do is just turn the dial until it stops. So it really is idiot proof. So that's going to cook at 70 degrees. And then I think you're going to come back to me later where I'm going to show you the wonders of my amazing eggnog. So on to the next person.
Yeah, I think we're on to Linda now, are we? Shall I move across Linda? There we go.
Right, okay. So to go with my garlic and thyme crackers, I'm going to make some chicken liver parfait. And so I start the cooking process, and we go. So basically, it asks you to put in 250 grams of unsalted butter, which I make all my own butter. I don't buy butter anymore. I actually use carton of cream, put it in the Thermomix to make my own butter, and it tastes delicious. You can add salt, you can add herbs, garlic, whatever you want to make your own butter and make it taste delicious. So 250 grams of unsalted butter, and then it says without the measuring cup, I need to put it in there for 10 minutes. This will clarify the butter. So I did that previously just so to save time. So now go next and insert 2 garlic cloves, which I've got here. Put those in. 2 shallots, which are halved. So I've got 2 shallots here. So pop those in there. And the 150 grams of unsalted butter, which have been clarified, which I've got in here. And I'm now going to add that in there to the mix. And we then go. So I now have to put the measuring cup on and pop the lid on and go next. And that is now 5 seconds, and that will chop. So that has now chopped all those ingredients into the butter. So you need to scrape down the side, which looks absolutely amazing. So I'm just going to scrape down the sides so that everything that's splashed up actually goes back into the jug for the next step. Put that on there, and without the measuring cup, it's saying that I now need to put it on for 5 minutes at speed 1, and it's also saying that in the meantime I need to rinse my chicken livers, which I've got here, which are all ready, and trim and discard the sinews. If you've ever made pate before, you know the chicken livers. I've got them here already prepared, and we will go. So it's just asking me to pat the livers dry with paper towels and season with fine sea salt and ground black pepper to taste. And then it will come on to my next step. So I'm presuming that I now pass on.
We'll go over to Sue, I think. But before we do that,
Cutty ready for?
Hang on, I'm just gonna spotlight me. No, I can't. Why can't I spotlight me? Never mind, doesn't matter. Yeah, so I just wanted to say that the chicken liver pate made in the Thermomix is a complete classic. It's lots of chefs make this as well, so you won't just see Thermomix in domestic kitchens, you will see them in professional kitchens right across the world. And one of the sort of most celebrated recipes amongst professional chefs is actually using Thermomix to make things like hollandaise sauce or béarnaise sauce, but also the chicken liver pate, which it's got just an absolutely fantastic smooth finish to it. There's no secret to it. You know, when you go to these lovely pubs and you have this chicken liver pate with a bit of caramelized onion jam, you can do the whole thing in the Thermomix, and it costs pennies, and it's really, really easy to do. So this is a recipe. If you haven't done it, do it in the run up to Christmas. It freezes really, really well. Linda, I'm not sure you should have put the clarified butter inside the pate. I thought the clarified butter went on the top. I know there is butter inside the pate, but is it not used to pour over the top to seal it? I don't know. It might be a slightly different version of the recipe.
Certainly you can, it does say you can put butter over the top.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is well worth giving this one a go. It is cheap as anything to make. It tastes absolutely delicious. In fact, I've still got a load in my freezer from last Christmas, which I must get out. Yeah, it's a real one to sort of wow your guests with. So minimal. But right, I'm going to hand over to go back to
Nuts doing.
Oh,
how's Cutty doing with her mixed nuts, her spice nuts?
Oh, I don't know. Am I supposed to be going back to Cutty for her nuts? Let's go back to Sarah. How are your nuts doing?
I can do my nuts. My nuts, I have a Thermomix free. So I can do, these are the spice mixed nuts. I made some last week just to have a little trial, and they were delicious. They didn't last very long though. My husband had more. Right, so 30 grams of olive oil. I've just put about 25 in. And then we're going to the maple syrup. I'm actually, after trying last week, I'm going to put a little bit more than 30 grams of maple syrup in. I'm going to put about 40 in, because I like them quite sweet. That's a lovely thing that you can adjust. You can adjust everything. Right, now I'm going to do 1 tablespoon of the smoked paprika. Soup smells delicious as well. And then we're going to do a garlic clove. We do take this out after we've cooked it all. 2 tablespoons of the coarse salt. It's quite important. And the nuts, so usually I cut the salt down, but I'm actually going to do the 2 today. Some chili flakes. Now again, it says half a teaspoon, but I'm going to put a few more in because we like it quite spicy. And a bit of black pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And then we're literally going to mix all that up. That's going to cook at 37 degrees just for 1 minute. It's going to just be stirring it for 1 minute. I've got 20 seconds left on the mulled wine. I have added a whole bottle of red wine to that, and then it's just been cooking for 5 minutes. So I'm not quite sure how we're going to get through that, but I'm sure we'll manage.
It's a hard job, but someone's got to do it, Sarah.
We've got to do it. Yeah, we don't like waste. So yes, you strain the mulled wine through the simmering basket. Oh, my glass is steamed up. So you could use the simmering basket as a strainer.
And that's presumably just to hold all the spices back, all those whole spices, yeah?
Yeah, stops all the spices going in, so just keeps all the bitty bits back.
I noticed you were quite keen to volunteer for the mulled wine, Sarah.
Well, I just wanted to take the pressure off you lot, really.
How many
so
trial runs
kind.
have you had?
I know, someone's got to do it, as you say. Right, my spice nuts. Oh, this is rolling, isn't it? Right, now I just add, oh, lovely. Now I just add 500 grams of the mixed whole nuts. These are all unsalted. I got these from Costco the other day. I think there's about 500 grams in here anyway.
There's quite a few different recipes actually on Cookie Dough for sort of spice nuts, but they form parts of recipes. There's a beautiful salmon dish with spiced cashews.
Yeah,
that is absolutely
gorgeous.
delicious. Yeah, and then I did some spiced, like sort of glazed spiced pecans a few weeks ago to go with a like a sort of a dairy-free French toast recipe that I'd found, that I did a demo in person for somebody who was looking at some keto recipes, and the pecan nuts were absolutely delicious. Right. Are we sticking with Sarah? Are we going to?
No, I've still got a minute to go on my spice nuts. So I'm just going to then put them on the baking tray, spread them out on the baking tray, and then going to put them in the oven. Just to cook, I think it's about 5 to 10 minutes. And then we just let them cool down and then they're done. But they're just mixing around at the moment. So yeah. I'll leave it at that. Who are we going to now?
Excellent. I think we're back to Eggnog Glyn.
Eggnog.
Eggnog Glyn, I love it. I've just finished. How perfect is that? Right, so I'm continuing with my luxury recipe. Add 1 teaspoon of corn flour. Oh, hold on, there you go. Oh, it looks nice in here, in there. Next. Right, it now tells me to use a sieve. I haven't got time for sieves. I don't do sieves. And actually, I love in the eggnog the bitty bits. So it's asking me to put 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg in, which Theodore has ground himself. Yes, he has. Let me just show you. And 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. So I'm not going to do that through a sieve, but if you want to follow the recipe correctly, you put it over a fine sieve. So 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg from my luxury measuring spoon. Thermomix do sell these, by the way. And 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, which I love, love, love. Cinnamon. Makes you.
She's going to tell us she grows it in a minute, I think.
Sorry?
I said you're going to tell us you grow it in a minute.
Right, I think this is the end of my recipe. Insert the measuring cup into the mixing bowl. And now I'm going to cook it for 14 minutes. And then obviously, when I've finished, you will see the beauty of the almond spice nutmeg. So I'm going on now to turn it to speed 2 at 70 degrees. So I'll see you in 14 minutes.
Brilliant. Right. Are we, Linda, how are you doing with the chicken liver pate? Are we at the next stage, or should we go to?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm.
Wait, let me just highlight you. One moment.
No problem.
Yeah.
So, whilst I'm preparing the chicken livers, you can see in here is the onion, and if you've ever tried to cook onions and make them translucent in a frying pan, it's very, very difficult. You always get the brown bits or it overcooks or whatever. But in the Thermomix, it actually cooks them to perfection. So it's really, really good. So it's now telling me to add the prepared livers. So I'm now going to do that. So they're now going in. So we have the chicken livers in there, and now telling me 100 grams of brandy. Wow, that sounds really quite a lot of brandy, but I'm sure it will taste absolutely amazing. So 100 grams of brandy now going in. And the next stage is that I need to now put on the lid, etc., and I can then go next. And that is now going to be 8 minutes at 100 degrees on selector speed 1. Okay, so that's now going on, and that's now going to cook for the next 8 minutes. So thank you.
Right, we'll go back to, should we go over to Sue doing the salad?
Yeah.
Which is the final one. Okay, right, let's find Sue. Ooh. Oh, she's there. Right, brilliant.
Hello. Right, it's smelling very Christmassy here with this this cranberry chutney. Oh, it smells delicious. Look at that. So that all that needs to do now, it's finished cooking, is literally just to pop it into some warm jars. And that will keep in a cool, dry place for a good period of time. And only when it's open, then does it need to be popped into the fridge to store. So now I've got that real Christmassy smell. It's on to Brussels sprouts. I think Brussels sprouts, you either love them or you hate them. There aren't a lot of people who really like them in this house, but we're going to see what we can do to make them a bit interesting. So I'm doing the shredded Brussels sprout salad with bacon and cranberries, except that I'm not using bacon because I don't eat it. So I'm adapting it slightly for a vegetarian version using halloumi instead. But if you like your bacon, then fill your boots because it would go brilliantly well. So I've just started this off actually just to save a little bit of time in watching. So I've basically, it says to place the bacon lardons into there with some oil, and it just basically cooks that for 5 minutes, which I have followed that process. You drain out the liquid, and then it's just asking us to weigh some things into it. So we're adding in the cranberries, so dried cranberries. It's very cranberry-ish in this house at the minute. And then popping in some pumpkin seeds, so 60 grams of pumpkin seeds going in there. And that's really, we're just using that to weigh, to be honest, because what happens next is we transfer that mixture into a bowl. So just doing that now. So we've got a nice mix there of halloumi and cranberries and pumpkin seeds. So that's all going into that bowl. Right. Then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so place 1 to 2 garlic cloves. I've done a couple in there to lighten the garlic. And with some thin peelings of lemon. So this is just with a peeler. I've just gone around the edge of the lemon. We're just going to pop that in. And then just the skin at this point, pop on the measuring cup, and we're going to do 3 seconds at speed 7. So not for long, but just a fast speed there. Okay, and then we're going to do a quick scrape down the sides. That's going to splayed up a little bit. There we go. And then it's going to ask us, I think, to do that again. Yeah. So another 3 seconds at speed 7, just to chop it up a little bit finer. Okay, now scraping that down again. Okay, so that's smelling very lemony. Lemony and garlicky, funnily enough. So there we go. Right, now we're going to add, did I move this one? Scrape down that. We're going to add in some lemon juice. So this is the juice of the lemon that I had taken the peeling off. So just pouring that in. It's about 25 grams, so that's just a bit under a lemon. And then add 20 grams. Now you can either use sherry vinegar or red wine vinegar. I've got the red wine because that's what red wine vinegar, so that's what I'd used for the other recipe. So I'm just going to pour that in, up to 20 grams, weighing it as we go. That's it. And then we need 40 grams of runny honey. I'm going to weigh that directly in because otherwise it just makes a sticky mess if I measure it into something. We're going to go straight in with that. So let's see how much of that we need. Another couple. But the great thing about the Thermomix is it will make some delicious salads very, very quickly, and the dressings are really nice, and it just coats everything really well. So the oil's going in as well. Just measure that in, 70 grams of extra virgin olive oil. That's that. And then a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. Actually, use that one, that's a bit easier. So I've just got my tablespoon measure there. A big dollop of Dijon mustard, which will give it a nice, lovely tang. Okay. And then 1 teaspoon of sea salt. Well, I've got rock salt here. Okay, Himalayan salt. Just measure out a teaspoon of that. That's going in. And half a teaspoon of ground black pepper. There we go. And with that. Okay, so now I'm just going to insert the measuring cup into the lid, and that's just going to mix the dressing up for us. 20 seconds on speed 6. So we'll just do that there.
We actually did this this salad last year for the Christmas demo as well, and actually it was really surprising how many people actually enjoyed it. Raw Brussels sprouts. I was amazed at the sort of general consensus at the end of it.
Yes, well, I have to say I haven't actually tried this yet. I was nervous of making a big batch to test out the recipe because with just me in the house who's likely to eat it, I thought I might be a bit Brussels sprouted out, if you know what I mean. So we're making this for the first time. But you can see that that's made a lovely dressing. It's mixed it all, blended it all really well together. And what we're going to do then is to add in 250 grams of Brussels sprouts. Now I've literally just trimmed these and halved them because they were a little on the large side. So we're just going to add those in now. 250 roughly. Oh, there we go, slightly too late. There we go. That's it. And then popping the lid on. And off we go. So 2 seconds at speed 5, won't take long. Oops. Okay. Wow. Oops, sorry, I've dripped on. You have to watch out when you drip anything on the screen. It sometimes sends it forward or backwards on its own, which we don't want. Okay. So if you look in there, look at that. That actually looks delicious, whether you like Brussels sprouts or not. So I'm going to transfer that because it tells me the next thing to do is to transfer that into the bowl with everything else in here. So they're all coated in that delicious dressing and chopped up well. There we go. And that's it. And then follow the next step on there. It's going to ask me to put more Brussels sprouts in again. So weigh in the remaining lot. Now it does give you a tip on here. Obviously with Brussels, by the time you've trimmed them and taken off any outer leaves that are not so great, I actually like the outer leaves, the dark green leaves, I really like those, but take off any that are needed. You do end up with less. So it does tell you in the tips to purchase 750 grams for 500 grams in the salad. I don't think I wasted as much as that actually, but just to be aware that you need to buy more than you actually want to end up with. So where are we? Oh, it's sent me on again. I've got wet hands, so it's hang on. It's dropped me off. Hold on. Sorry, I lost connection on it there for a second. Oh, I think my internet is being a little bit slow just now. Hold on. I'll tell you what I'll do. Oh no, it's come back up now. There we go. So just scrolling down the recipe to where we've got to. There's the remaining one. So that's quite useful to know. You can actually just jump to a step when you've got the recipe up on the screen and you can see where you need to go. You can jump straight in. So we've put the next lot of Brussels sprouts in there and pop the measuring cup in the lid. And we're going to do another 5 seconds on 2 seconds on speed 5. I'm just doing that now. And then we're going to transfer that into the bowl. There we go. So if we just check what that says, is transfer it in and give it a mix around. So obviously you need to coat that around, but if you can see some of those, the second stage of Brussels are a little bit more chunky, but that's fine. So we're just going to give it a good old mix. We'll end up with a lovely blend of, I don't think you can see on there, can you? Lovely mixed salad with some cranberries and all sorts in there, and that would be lovely for a spread with cold meats if that's what you have on a Boxing Day, part of a buffet. And I suspect that you probably wouldn't know that you're eating Brussels sprouts, but I'm going to try it and I'll let you know.
Great. Okay, so should we go back over to Linda with the chicken liver pate? How are you doing, Linda?
Yeah,
Okay.
good. So it's just finished. We now have 20 seconds at 90 degrees on a speed 7. And that is
just blending now, really.
blend it up, yeah. So tell me to increase to 7 slowly.
It's a bit of a shame actually when you watch it like this, because you don't see minimal effort that's involved in doing something like this, do you? Because while this has been cooking away, you haven't actually been doing anything, Linda, have you?
Sorry?
You haven't had to do anything while the Thermomix is cooking. You've just
no, I've been putting the other crackers in, and I've kept an eye on the crackers that I prepared earlier, so that was great. So we go next now. And it's just telling me to scrape down the sides, and obviously on the top as well. And so I'm just going to do that, and it is smelling and looking absolutely delicious. That's it done. And so now go next. And I now add 100 grams of double cream. So pop that in now. Okay. I'm going to pour that in now into the mixture. And go next, and we just need some sea salt, a teaspoon. Put that next in there. and the ground pepper, which I've got here in my prepared dishes. So the next step, and I now need to put lid on again, and it's now going to be speed 5 and 20 seconds. So to go from 5 to 7 on a gradual thing, and there we go. So 20 seconds. I'm now increasing the speed.
It always feels like a long time, doesn't it? 20 seconds when it's blending away and we're waiting to see the finished results.
I know, so it sounds amazing. Right, just asking me to scrape down the sides again. There we go. So everything is now down. I go next. Insert the measuring cup, which is again on there. And it's now asking me to turn the speed selector to 5, which, I mean, all the guided things here, it's just like we've all said, it's idiot proof. So it gives you all the instructions which you need to do. So 20 seconds at 80 degrees. And we now go to turn the dial to 5, increase it to 7 as we go along.
I'm far too impatient to do it like this. I just whack it up to speed 10 and run it for about a minute when I do mine.
Right, so it just basically was blending that all again. And we now go next, and it just now tells me that I need to divide the mixture into 10 ramekins, and I'll do some of that in a moment or two and show you the crackers, and yeah, my job's done.
Oh, fantastic. Right. So I think we just now need to go around showing our various products off, don't we? So Marie, should we start with you? How are you doing with regards to...
Oh, I have just pulled the dough balls out of the oven. These are both going on my Christmas table. Let me tell you. And not these ones, I'm going to devour these ones. But yeah, I will be repeating both of these, absolutely, 100%. Are you ready? These look amazing. All I've done on the Christmas tree, pulled it out of the oven, and I've put half cherry tomatoes on it, which I would advise not putting on until you're ready to serve, because otherwise it just makes the pastry a bit soggy. Ready? Because these are wow factors. Ready?
Oh, look at that.
Look at them. Look at them. They're so good.
Yes.
And
oh my goodness.
Doughballs.
Doughballs.
I know, they're Doughballs. They are amazing, honestly. I'm going to pull one off. Look, nice and soft Doughballs. Oh, gooey Camembert. Amazing. There's my tea sorted.
Yeah, that looks absolutely fantastic. Well done. And okay, should we go over to who can we go? Has Glynis finished? Is her almond eggnog finished? I know she's.
Oh, I think you'll find it is.
Desperate. Hang on, let me just. Oh, she's there. She's there.
I always know when the demo is about to finish because my son wanders into the kitchen and, as if by magic, he's come in moaning that I've made an alcoholic eggnog. I said, no, it's non-alcoholic, darling. So here we go, just pouring it out. It smells absolutely gorgeous. And I'm just going to put some of my grated nutmeg by Theodore on the top. I don't think he's going to come on screen. He's laughing in the corner. I don't think I'm going to get him here, but it smells absolutely delicious. So that's Henry's. And then for Ricardo, my commie chef, I'm just going to pop some brandy in for him. Now, you can do this with rum as well, but you kind of need to use a dark spirit rather than a white spirit. So this is Richard's. Let's hope I don't get them mixed up.
What is it?
And there you have it. Gorgeous and glamorous, luxury, Christmas, almond milk eggnog.
That's Christmas in a mug.
Christmas in the mug. I'll take a photo and show it to you all later.
Yeah. Right. Should we go to Cutty? So back over to Sarah to show what have we got here? The spice nuts.
So I've got the mulled wine, which is delicious and makes it feel very, very festive. The soup is all done. I've just put a bit of thyme on there. Just give it a little bit of decoration. I also earlier made them our favourite baps, which are the cheese and basil nuts, which are just very, very tasty. And also, these are great for dinner parties. That's my garlic and herb butter, which I use. I make the garlic and herb butter in the Thermomix, and then I use one of these moulds. Just off Amazon, it's only a couple of quid off Amazon. And so I can put my butters in there, then I freeze them, and then they're just ready for dinner party or whenever you just want a bit of herb butter. And then that's all ready. That'll be for tomorrow as well, because I've got plenty. Spice nuts, they're just cooling down still, but they're quite spicy because I did put a bit extra chili powder in, and they won't last long around here, but they smell delicious, and I'll be putting them in this jar. And I'll also use these, obviously, I'll give them to people without nut allergies, because I know you have to be a bit careful with nuts, but they're great. Really nice little jar, and use them as gifts for Christmas or birthdays. I actually made some of the toffee vodka for her birthday on Friday. Had a birthday party, made her some toffee vodka, so it's great for making presents and everything as well, especially this time of year.
Brilliant. So should we go to Sue? Sue, have you got something to show us? Or mind you, yours was pretty much done, wasn't it?
It was pretty much done, but you're welcome very much to have a look. So here we go. Look at that. Delicious salad. And I have to say, it tastes amazing. They're the best Brussels sprouts I've ever had. And there's the chutney again, which looks great. And that's going to go into one of these jars, actually, which I've got ready. And just a tip, actually, I always struggle with whether to reuse jars that I've already got, but the lids never look quite that great, do they? So I've just bought some new lids. This is a jar, I've just taken the label off. It's an old honey jar. Bought some nice new lids, so that will make for a good sort of gift as well. I think we've got another demo coming up where we're going to talk about edible gifts, but that's something like that would be really good. So yes, feeling good and Christmassy.
It's also worthwhile saying, if you can just show over the top of the jar, Sue, that you can use the Thermomix lid as like a jam funnel. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yes.
When you fill the jars with.
Yeah, so this lid here, perfectly sized almost to pour the contents
over the jar,
into the jar, so we don't get it spilled everywhere. That's already got the chutney on it anyway, so it's another way to save on a little bit of washing up.
Yeah,
so thank you.
And then let's go over to Linda finally. Let me find Linda. There we go. And so she can show it.
Okay, so I have my crackers here, lovely golden brown, all very crisp and very tasty. And what a smooth and silky pate. It's absolutely silky smooth, and I'm sure it'll go marvellously with the crackers.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you, ladies. So I think that concludes. Can somebody spotlight me, because I can't seem to spotlight myself now. I've got one of my daughters with me as well. So that concludes. Hang on, can somebody spotlight me? I think we're still on Linda. Trying. I don't know why I can't get. There we go. Right. She's very excited. She thinks she's on YouTube now. So that concludes our Christmas cooking demo. I hope you all really enjoyed that. We've shown a huge variety of food products that you can cook, from drinks to your spice nuts to a salad to a soup, some breads, some pastry. So lots and lots of variation that can be made in the Thermomix. And that is really the whole point of this machine, is that it's extremely versatile, and it is the only machine that you need in your kitchen. You can do away with a lot of the other stuff, so you will free up your cupboard space, you'll free up work surface space, and you will also give yourself the gift of time, and reduce your shopping bills at the same time. So really it is, if you are sort of on the fence, or perhaps on the fence before you join this demo this evening, hopefully we've moved you a little bit further towards wanting to buy one now, and understanding that it really does pay for itself. It's not going to be one of these purchases that you make and that you think it's going to sit in a cupboard and you won't do anything with. We won't let that happen. That's the one benefit of buying Thermomix through an advisor, especially through myself or one of my team, because we are all really passionate that our customers get the most out of their Thermomix, and it is our job, and this is one of our favorite parts of the job, is working very closely with our customers to help inspire them to use it on a daily basis. So you will never hear one of our customers say, oh, I bought a Thermomix a few years ago and it's just sat on the side gathering dust. That's not what we want to do. And actually, that's what makes the Thermomix community a fantastic place to be, actually, because you have this community around you offering support and advice. If you're not already part of my Thermomix Whiz customer group, please do join that. I have customers sharing and advisors sharing recipes there on a daily basis, that inspires everybody just to do something a little bit different and find out about more new recipes, so that you're not stuck in a rut. And again, that's one of the big things why people find Thermomix is so brilliant, because you don't ever get stuck in a rut. So I'm not going to talk much longer now. I know we've kept you a little bit longer than we were hoping to, but again, we had another incredible menu to show you, lots of cooking to get through, and hopefully we will have inspired you to try something new in the run up to Christmas. As Sue mentioned, we have got a session coming up on the 4th of December on Saturday afternoon. It's going to be between 3 o'clock, I think, and 5:30, and we're going to be doing it more on a cook along basis. So you will actually get the opportunity to cook 1 or 2 recipes alongside us, and the idea is that we're going to be focusing on some edible gifts that you can sort of make and then give out as little Christmas as well. So just one final thing to mention: if you are thinking of purchasing a Thermomix, please don't just go online and buy one. Talk to the advisor that has invited you to this session this evening. We offer payment plans to make Thermomix more affordable, so you don't have to pay the £1,149 in one go. You can spread it over 1, 2 or 3 years. On a 1-year plan, it's about £100 a month. On a 2-year plan, about £55. And on a 3-year plan, about 36. It will be the best money you spend every single month. You will get it back in spades. I actually bought one last month for my mum. I'm going to give it to her as a Christmas present, just because I know she will get, it will just give her a confidence back in the kitchen. And now she's on her own, she won't, you know, there's that tendency there, I think, to think, oh, I can't be bothered to cook for myself. But actually, because the Thermomix just makes it so easy and effortless and lots of fun as well, I think it's just going to give her a sort of a slightly different thing to focus on now. So has anybody got any questions for us? I'm just trying to read through the chat at the same time, and everybody's saying, yeah, it was helpful, great recipes to try out, and Christmas ideas collection is getting very full. That's what it's all about, isn't it? This community, it's not when you buy a sort of a food processor or a blender from a supermarket or John Lewis or somewhere, and you get back and you plug it in and think, oh, now what? Actually, with a Thermomix, you have got an advisor on hand and a community at your fingertips to help inspire you to use it. And we run these sessions on a regular basis. We run at least one a month. So you will never be sitting there twiddling your thumbs thinking, what do I do now? And Julie said, oh, it boiled her eggs to perfection tonight. Fantastic. Excellent. Well, I'm really glad you all enjoyed it. I hope we're going to welcome some new owners to our community very soon. If you are interested in finding out a little bit more on how to buy one, please put your details in the chat and somebody will get in contact with you. If you already have an advisor, of course, go back to them, and hopefully we will get a Thermomix in your kitchen well in advance of Christmas, so you can start making some of these fantastic recipes that we have shown you tonight and wow wowing all your family and friends. So I think that's it. So goodbye from me and on behalf of all my team. So thank you so much, Marie, Linda, Sarah, Sue, and Glamglyn, of course. It's always fun to do these alongside you ladies, and everybody adds something a little bit different. So yeah, we thoroughly enjoyed doing these for you, and thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Oh, so Carl, if you're still on there, how easy is it to cook these recipes for one? So what I would usually recommend, in fact, I will probably just stop recording here. Stop.